The following episode will contain spoilers. You have been warned.
You're listening to Cinema IRL, the podcast that throws you into the movie and asks the question, what would you do? Today we have a crazy story of perseverance turned into principles of not letting the bullies win. Amber and Scott discuss Toe. And now, Cinema IRL.
I wish I could switch places for just one day.
What would you do?
Put yourself in my shoes.
How do we handle this?
What would you do?
Put yourself in my position.
What would you do?
Now it's your turn.
Sometimes you just gotta speak truth to power. The problem is sometimes power is vindictive and has a lot of money.
Yeah, and sometimes power just doesn't care and doesn't listen.
Yeah, sometimes it's just, how you say, asshole.
That's true. All right, folks, welcome to Cinema IRL. This episode, we are talking about the movie Toe. Not T-O-E, but T-O-W. And in short, what it's about, it's a story about a woman who is...
Inspired by a true story.
Yeah, inspired by a true story. And she is living in her car, trying to find a job as a vet tech. Her daughter lives in Utah, and she is 7 months sober. And she's trying to get her life together, and while she's at a job interview, her car gets stolen. This is the car that she needs, the car that she sleeps in.
Like, literally, they want to hire her to do dog pickups and drop-offs, so she absolutely needs the car for the job she was in applying for.
Absolutely. We start the movie off where she is on an interview. She doesn't get it. The second one, she does. And it's absolutely to transport dogs for a grooming service. So she's excited and she gets to the parking lot to get into her car, and her car isn't there. So she has lost her home, and she's also lost the one necessary thing for her to actually keep this job that starts on Monday. So there are a ton of what would you do. Where would you like to start? Would you start at the beginning when she walks out and has her car taken, or just trying to get her life together before then?
Yeah, even before then, because as you know, I have had a couple of stints in my life where my car and my home were the same thing.
You had vehicular housing, yeah.
Vehicular housing, twice long spells, separated by 23 years. And it sucks. But it's better than, not having a car.
Yeah, trying to find a safe place to sleep every night. That's a whole other ball of wax.
Yeah, though it's one of those cases where, man, it's a lot better if you're shorter.
Oh, yeah. We see one point in the film where after she's lost her car, she's trying to find where to sleep for the night, and there is a guy actually renting out cars for homeless people to sleep in, and he comments that, yeah, I don't have compacts, I have big cars, so you have some foot room.
But she, in the back of her Camry, her 1991 Toyota Camry, she was able to lay out a pillow and, sleep, fully stretched out. I could not do that.
I didn't see that she was fully stretched out, but...
Yeah, she appeared to be fully stretched out. I couldn't do that. I could come close, but not quite. So.
Yeah, I don't think most of us can. So, the thing about this character, Amanda, is she really seems to... She's trying. She's trying to the best of her ability, but also, too, she's frustrated and beaten down by this process. And when her car gets towed, it starts a year-long fight with a towing company for her to get her car back.
So, I do want to mention something here on a huge what would you do, and this is on a giant scale.
Okay.
I guess life hadn't beaten her down too much because she still had a lot of pride and an abundance of it for where she was.
Yeah, when she had to explain to people about her car being stolen. And it wasn't just that it was stolen. It was that it was stolen and then abandoned somewhere where it shouldn't have been. And then it got towed from where it was abandoned. And so that's a double whammy. Number one, your car gets stolen. Number two, it gets dumped and taken to a towing company. And then you are on the hook for paying the towing company to get your car back. And I actually have been in that situation. My mom had her car stolen out of her driveway. And we had no idea where it was. And the exact same thing happened. And we went down there. And I remember remember having to bite the bullet for a couple $100 to get the car back out. And I thought, wow, this is one messed up, broken system that you are actually violated twice.
Yeah, so did they ever figure out who did the thing with your mom's car?
What do you mean figure out who
Like
did
who
the
stole
thing?
it?
A criminal?
What? Who?
I don't know.
Like a specific person? Because I believe if the criminal, like if they know who the criminal is and are able to press, then they can...
I mean, an abandoned car is an abandoned car. The guy wasn't sitting around in it waiting to get caught.
Yes, I'm just saying that you can nail the criminal with the charges that you would incur for the towing and stuff like that.
Well,
But
see, and that's the thing, is if you want to fight back against, big law or big towing or big banks, it takes time and effort, and most people just don't have it in them to have the just dig in for the fight.
it's
Hard. It's deflating. It's time consuming, and they count on you giving up because a normal person just doesn't have the bandwidth mentally or financially or even with time to do what's needed to actually maybe win.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, in the end, the tow company probably could have gotten off a lot cheaper by just letting her have the freaking car to begin with.
What do you mean? Okay, you're jumping ahead here. So getting off cheaper.
Well, because here's the thing. If she's fighting in the legal system to get her car back, there's got to be another side of that who is fighting to not give her car back. Now, at first, no, because when she filed her initial motion...
Okay, you're jumping ahead a little bit here, so let's just fill in some brief context here for our audience. So she goes to get her car, which has now been towed, thinking she can get her car, and they say, "Oh, well, there's fees and storage, and it's $200. No, it's $250." She does not have $250, so she goes to court to basically sue them to give her car back with no fees. She wins. She comes back to the towing company with this order for them to release her car. They have sold it to another company to be sold. And ultimately, in retaliation, that towing company countersues her for storage and fees for the entire year that this saga is going on, which results in them wanting $21,000 or something from her.
Yeah, so it's... If you can't pay to get your car out of storage, like, immediately...
Oh, yeah, you're doomed.
That is a horrible spiral from there.
Those storage fees are just so unreasonable. And in a situation where it's just not your fault, it's just so wrong.
Now, I could be wrong, but I believe that is a situation where you can actually apply for a hardship waiver.
No. Maybe you can. I remember trying to do.
Oh, yeah, no, you have to leave your car there for a while. You have to go through the city to try to get that. And, it would take some time, but... I believe you could if you can demonstrate, like, you're low enough income. But, obviously that wasn't a thing. Now, here's the thing. Like, the tow company had a contract with the city. Could they do what they did? Yes. Is it moral? No. But that's immoral on the city's part. Well, see, that's the thing. It's common practice. And I get it. Like, if you're doing work...
the city isn't going to be saying, "Oh, here's a car parked where it shouldn't. Oh, let's check to see if it's tow or if it's stolen or not. And if it's stolen, it goes to the good tow yard. And if it's just parked because someone's not paying attention, it goes to the bad tow yard." They're not making those kind of judgment calls out in the field.
Yeah, it's a really crappy situation because, like, the tow company did work. They were called. They came and got the car. They did their job, and they should be paid for that job. But, like, who should pay them? The person who got their car stolen? The city? Like, neither of those make sense. Like, literally, there's no sense for anyone shelling money out of pocket for this or willing to take the dip on it.
So what would you do if you were Amanda in any of these situations? So you initially said you would have less pride because part of the issue with Amanda is when she was initially in this fight to get her car back, she didn't want to admit that her car was her home. And it wasn't just that she lost her car because everyone's like, "Oh, it's an old car. Why do you care about that?" Which was insanely dismissive because who cares if it was an old car and why she used it. But she didn't want to admit that that's where she was sleeping. And in the few instances that she did, then she got more kindness and understanding from people.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, don't get me wrong, people in general are jerks, but also there's a lot of people who have good hearts
Yeah.
And we'll be very understanding if you just explain. Because, I mean, life beats us all down eventually of some form or fashion. Like, maybe it's really bad. Sometimes it just
It's up
kind
and
of
downs
bad.
for everybody. And
Yeah.
anyone who tells you otherwise is lying.
Yeah, pretty much. Or a trust fund baby. So
They have problems. They're just different problems. We all have problems.
they just don't know where to spend all
They
their
have
money.
better quality problems.
Yes.
Someone hit my Lamborghini, or the filter in my Olympic-sized pool is not working.
So here's the first thing I would do. If my car is in that yard, if I can scrape up the money and it literally leaves me without a penny to my name, I'm doing it.
Where do you scrape up the money, though?
Well,
Where do you
I don't
scrape
know.
up $250?
I mean, I don't know how much money she actually had on her at the time.
And that's the sad part. That's the messed up part of this.
It's poverty
is
compounding
she-
poverty.
Yeah, she can't just come up with the $250 because every day it's stacking, compounding. So she could go out there and do a bunch of odd jobs and come back in 3 days with $250. But at that point, it's probably $550.
Yeah, it gets worse. It's the stacking poverty, and it's what keeps people in the system, if you will.
Like interest for credit cards.
Yep.
Oh, it only costs $20. I can put in my credit card, but you know what? That $20 ends up being $120 with all the interest you pay on it.
We better not get to 120. That's a lot. But I hear what you're saying. It's a lot of money that gets paid to. You have to pay money to not have money.
Yeah.
But so yeah, because of the way this thing stacks, like I am doing whatever I can as fast as humanly possible to get whatever amount of money that is. And I don't know what that looks like, but because these things do get really ugly if you don't get it out. Now, that's not to say I might not still fight after I've paid, but when you haven't paid, it gets to be a problem. And so then it comes to the issue of selling the car. And
Yeah, the tow company ultimately sold it to someone else to be sold on a lot.
Yeah, so I'm not exactly, and in the end, it's like they sold it to their own company.
Yeah, their company, Brett's Towing or whatever, I guess, had a lot where they sold cars. So
Yeah, so I don't believe that is legal in a situation where the car was stolen. Now, if you parked it in the wrong place and it got towed or whatever, yes, there is a time period after which they can actually sell your car to pay a lien on it that you owe the city. But that's a city lien. The towing company cannot put a lien on your car that would give them the opportunity to sell it. So I'm not sure what the hell happened there, but that would have been a massive lawsuit if I'd been involved at that point.
Well, I certainly don't know the laws in Washington State pertaining to towing, and I know you don't either. But the fact of the matter is they are also not a storage facility. They are not going to hang on to a towed car indefinitely because most people can't. As the guy who worked at the towing company admitted, is like, we didn't expect you to come back because most people don't. Because especially if you're talking about a 30-something-year-old car, that ultimately your fees and storage are worth more than what that car is worth. Unfortunately, when you drive an old car, even if someone could sell it for $300, you can't buy a running car for what that cost is. And that's also the other complication with when money's tight.
Yeah. So I know they can't hold it forever. I don't know. Maybe there is a certain time after which they could, but let me tell you, that time is not 23 days. Because that's the day she came back, was on day 23 to retrieve her car, and they said it was already sold.
Yeah, when she got her court order that absolved her from having to pay for it.
And I think the reason they said it was sold is because they saw that he was being sued, so he basically sold it to himself.
No.
To hide the car.
The suing came afterwards. Well, I mean, she did sue them in having to. There was 2 suits.
Yeah, the first one they got summoned.
Yeah.
For it, and he was like, "F this, I'm not going."
It was just her on her own doing this, and she actually won on her own. And then later she finds a lawyer who helps folks. And
she won because they didn't show up, but he was just like, "Screw you, I'm just going to sell it to myself. Now I'm going to tell you it's not there." so I can't give you it if I don't have it.
He was a very vindictive lawyer and basically knew it and almost had fun with it. It's like, yeah, no, you're just a little town lawyer, helping people who are, can't afford a good lawyer like me. And not only was he not helpful, he actually made it worse with the countersuing for the $21,000. So what would you do if you were any of these people involved, the guy that works at the towing company, the lawyer for the towing company, Amanda, or Amanda's lawyer, who eventually winds up helping her, named Kevin?
Yeah, so if you work for the towing company, you want to keep your job. And you're not going to take a story from someone you don't know and make it so that you potentially lose your job over that. So you don't have a choice.
I kept expecting her to hit the guy that worked at the towing company, who we see repeatedly over the 3 years when she comes back. I kept expecting him to buy it out of tow for her, because he just seemed like a nice guy, and I was like, okay, well, he's going to help her, and then he just never did.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, the fees compound so much.
Well, he should have helped her on day one.
No.
I'm sure if you helped everyone who came in with a sob story to a towing company, you'd be pretty poor.
Yeah. If I'm the lawyer, I'm...
Which lawyer? Her lawyer or the towing company lawyer?
A towing company.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I got to get right with Jesus or something. I don't. I gotta find my path again, because you are like Satan's son at this point. That guy was a real piece of work.
He was. And all the while that this is going on, Amanda finally gets off the streets after trying to find some place to sleep and trying to get through every night, trying to find someplace safe. She ultimately gets into a shelter, and then unfortunately she loses one of the times she thinks she's going to get the car back, goes back to drinking, gets sober again, goes back to the shelter. And all this time she's trying to maintain a relationship with her daughter, who is in Idaho, because Amanda, wanted more stability for her, and she knew that, she had some issues to work out. And trying to, again, when you talked earlier about the sense of pride, Amanda not telling her daughter that she doesn't have a job, or that she's living on the streets, or she's homeless, or that she's in a shelter.
So they never really discussed her Amanda's relationship to her ex-husband.
They did not. I noticed that as well.
So if I had been Amanda, I would have contacted the ex-husband and said, listen, here's the situation. I've had some crap. I didn't have a place to live. I was in my car. I was going for a job interview. My car got stolen, and I am just in the worst place. I'm not asking you for help. I'll figure that on my own. But I don't know what to tell Avery, because I don't want to let her down. And it depends. See, that's the thing. It totally depends on the relationship they have. Like, if he's just vindictive, then you wouldn't tell him anything, because he'll use it to drive a wedge further. If he's a decent human being, he'll find a way to at least somewhat cover for why her mom is not able to see.
And also, too, we learned that Amanda has had some trouble. She tried to take her life a couple years ago. She's had problems with sobriety since she was 11 years old. So if you're that ex-husband, too, who knows what that relationship looks like. He might think that she's bad for Avery. I certainly don't know, but that's an unknown variable.
I mean, if it's completely fractured, then you hate it, but you've got to go to Avery. And you maybe don't mention every single detail.
Yeah, it
but
goes back to pride.
Yeah, you need to tell her enough so that Avery understands why it's not you not wanting to see her, but like you literally cannot.
And this is where putting yourself in someone else's shoes gets a little complicated, because I'm sure as a parent, as a mom, she probably doesn't want to appear to her daughter that she's failing, or that her daughter needs to worry about her, or that her daughter would be embarrassed of her, or anything like that. I'm sure there's all kinds of things wrapped in with that.
That's kind of parent rule number one. Whatever you're going through, don't put it on your kids.
Yeah, my mom was great about that.
Yeah, and it's...
I'm sure there were some incredibly tough times as a single parent, and I got to tell you, I didn't know about any of them.
So I know you don't want to actually tell your daughter, but there does hit a point where you have to say, if I don't tell my daughter what's going on here, I look like a flake and a liar, and I might lose my relationship with her.
Which does happen for a while in the film, where Amanda lies, says she has a job at a vet clinic. Her daughter calls that the clinic and is promptly told, no, there's no one here that works like that. And then Avery doesn't want to talk to her mom. So yeah, that definitely does show up.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about lies. Lies take lies to support, and more lies, and it just compounds. And it's a little easier to either tell the truth or at the very least not tell a lie. Don't say, I got hired at this place.
Be ambiguous with your lies.
I mean, if you have to. I mean, you're still trying to shelter your daughter, but you're also trying to protect your relationship with her. And that's going to be a really delicate balance. But if you start lying, like, that trust is going to be eroded away like pronto. So you don't lie.
Especially when you're dealing with a teenager, and teenagers are a whole other ball of wax.
Yeah, don't expect them to be logical. Teenagers, by their nature, are not going to be logical. So now here is the thing. So there's other stuff to talk about, but zipping forward to the end, she eventually wins, and she gets her car back.
She does.
It does end with a happy story.
After 366 days or something like that.
Yeah. See, here's the thing. Going back to Kevin, you were talking about what would you do if you're Kevin.
Her lawyer, yeah.
Yeah. If you are a lawyer working for a nonprofit.
I think it's his nonprofit.
You are one of the most altruistic types of people that are out there.
Absolutely.
Like 100%. And
helping people who need it and can't afford normal legal fees.
And God bless them for the work that they do for people like that. So, like, I'm sure he sees it as an opportunity to really, like, do what he said when he found her. Like, you're the reason I became a lawyer.
Yeah.
So, and obviously he's 24, 25. I mean, he's got to be, like, just having passed the bar.
Right.
So.
Where are you going here?
Well, if I'm him, I'm probably doing what I'm doing. Like, I'm hammering this thing out. Like, I'm actually trying to take something where somebody's actually being a super jerk. Like, I would work it the way he was. But here is the thing. You're a nonprofit, but you still track your hours. You still track your hours, and you track a fee on that hours. Because,
and then you sue for your time invested in the case?
Generally...
Can you do that?
Well, generally in situations like this, there actually is an award for any fees paid to either, like, the city for the case itself, or to lawyers, or anything like that. Like, you can actually get that back as a lawyer, and it's mostly automatic. Like, you just get those fees back if you win.
Well, and Amanda got her car back, but she didn't get anything else. No damages, no anything. She just got her car back. So after fighting for a year, that was the end result.
Oh, yeah, no. See, that's the thing. I would have started stacking. I would have said, if you really want to be this big of a jerk, then you better be able to win this, because I'm going to start countersuing for emotional damage, like loss of weight. Like, you could stack a bajillion things that would all be perfectly legitimate on against him. So now it's not just the car, but it could be tens of thousands of dollars, maybe even going into over 100,000 plus, because, I mean, you've completely wrecked this woman's life. And what's it worth when you literally cost someone a year of their life? Well, something like that, it could be a lot of money. So I would have countersued, or not countersued, but I would have added that onto the whole thing.
She deserved it.
What?
I said, yeah, she deserved it.
Yeah.
So did the lawyer.
But that's the other thing, too. Once you start looking at something where it's not just giving the car back, but could literally be like $100,000 judgment on top of that against you, that is when a lawyer like that finally says, okay, let's settle. Because them losing, which they have to know is this is a loser. Like, the fact that he was delaying and delaying and delaying and delaying, he knew it was a loser.
The lawyer for the tow company.
Yeah, he knew he couldn't win if he actually went to court
I don't know that he did. He was pretty cocky.
No, he knew. He knew he could.
I don't know what he knew.
He knew he couldn't win, because that's the thing. If you can win, you're just going to get it done with. And basically, like, screw you, lady, I'm done.
Well, I think he was saying screw you, lady, by not settling and not taking the calls and not being attentive and dragging this on for
that's
more
the
than
thing.
a year.
You're compounding her emotional damage. You're compounding her legal bills. You're compounding all the other things that could be there. You've got to put that pressure on the defendant, because, again, if the only thing he stands to lose is the car that he shouldn't have still had anyway, he's doing his own legal work, what's the incentive to him to settle? There's really none. So you've got to give him a reason to say no mas. And I think that was part of their problem, is that she wanted only what she thought she deserved. Well, girl, you deserved a hell of a lot more than what you got.
That's true.
We hope you enjoyed our episode. Thank you for listening. And to catch all the new episodes, please subscribe. We release 2 to 3 episodes weekly, so we'll have new content regularly. Until next time.